Hey guys, Wax with Ironman 4x4. You might have some questions on how to get these TOY050 Torsion Bars installed on your 100 Series Land Cruiser or your LX470 Lexus. I'll walk you through how to do it. It's a lot easier than you think. A couple little tips and tricks. Let's get started. Now before we just start ripping stuff apart, dragging these stock torsion bars out, there's a couple things I want to show you. This is your stock torsion bar here on the driver's side. It ties into this torque arm, and at the end of the torque arm, you've got this tensioning bolt. And this bolt, if you turn it clockwise, it will actually add preload to this bar, causing more twist to twist on your front control arm to actually raise your vehicle up. Now the driver's side and the passenger side are going to be set to a different height, obviously because you've got different weights on the vehicle. You've got a heavy gas tank on one side, or maybe on your specific truck, you might have water tanks or a tent or something heavy in a different area that we don't know about. So what we're going to do is, before we rip this apart, grab yourself something flat like a straight edge or even like a speed square or something, lay it across the head of that bolt and find something that you can put a co-witness mark on. That way, when we come back and get this all reassembled, I can hold that straight edge and go, that is exactly where it was before. Now you need to pull your front and mid skid plates off. I think they're all 12 millimeter. Come on, you. So now we can go ahead and remove this torque arm bolt, 30 millimeter socket. So I use my impact gun on this, but I would say don't go super fast, because in the past I've had it where if you get a piece of dust or a burr or something backing it out, it will trash your thread. So take your time, go slow. So take note on this saddle piece here that the hole is not centered in it. It's actually offset to the forward side of the truck. Luckily, Lexus did us a favor and put an arrow, so that means hole goes towards the forward side of the truck. So when I pull this out, I'm gonna label it as being on the driver's side so I know where it goes. All right, passenger side's out. So now we've got the back of the torsion bar loose with the torque arm hanging free. This is a 22 millimeter nut on each side, and these bad boys are torqued down. So grab yourself a big wrench or a breaker bar if you have it. You're going to hang on these things. All right, I got a little bit longer wrench on here. This is a long bolt that goes all the way through to the front side of the control arm. This one back here sits there, so if you need to grab a 22 wrench to hold it, you can, but it spins right off nice and easy. This one, same thing, I'll hold it with my hand. Don't hurt yourself. Cool. So I'll push this outside bolt through and out. So when you're trying to break these things loose, you just want to tap on each side. Tap, tap here, tap, tap there. Here, tap, there, tap, everywhere, tap, tap. Okay, so that is starting to wiggle out, which is good news. I'm gonna go to the back here and adjust this. Lower that torque arm back so we can pull the assembly. Give us some more room to work here. And then when you take these down, aim the front side of the torsion bar to the inside of the truck and down low, and you can pull it out just like that. You want to clean out your splines, because when you go to put the Ironman torsion bar in, if you've got a piece of gravel in there or burr or dirt, it makes it really difficult for the two to mate. A little brake clean in there. Don't spray yourself in the face. You can get a little wire bristle brush in there, clean them out. So we'll do that on both sides, on the rear and the front. So I've got my torsion bars laid out. This is my stock Toyota torsion bar, and this is the Ironman 4x4 TOY050 bar. Now, you've got a spline tooth count on each one of these. Same amount of teeth, the same amount of teeth on the spline cup. On the OEM spline cup, you're gonna have a mark here, and that mark is where there's a flat inside that cup and it's missing a tooth. Toyota wants you to match up the white stripe where that missing tooth gap is. Same thing with Ironman. We give you a mark right here, so that's where you're gonna plug it together. Another trick on setting these up is take a little bit of grease, or I actually like to use anti-seize, and we're gonna put a little bit around the spline cup just to help it, because we don't want things to rust together. Don't over grease them, but a little bit's okay. So Ironman labels their torsion bars. LH, left hand, that's gonna be our driver's side. The RH is the passenger side. I have an L and a Z with a twist mark. That goes towards the rear. The front side has nothing. So let's put a little anti-seize on the front and rear, front spline cup and this rear torque arm. So we're gonna put this together for the front right now. I'm gonna line up those co-witnessed marks. That slides together just like that. Feed it right up here. The driver's side one's gonna be near the catalytic converter. And that should give you plenty of room. We'll get our torque arm up in there. We can see that mark. And I'll bring the torsion bar around. Cool. All right, so before we get any further, we want to make sure and install our bracket 100 reinforcement bracket. This is going to help us strengthen the lower control arm. Because these torsion bars are so heavy duty, we don't want to get stress fractures in our lower control arm, so we provided an extra bracket to help strengthen that area up. So we'll slide that off to the side there, feed this guy through, and that's gonna sit. So we've set our bracket 100 hardware off to the side for now because we're gonna get this all put together and torqued down, then we'll come back and we'll drill this out and get the hardware put in. So to get this thing to fit, lower your torque arm down and try to get it all the way back behind this flange and get it all the way pushed back. That'll give you enough room on the front end to get everything to bolt up, to slide over that smaller bolt. Once it's over, you can lower it back down and push it forward. There we go. Now we can get our bracket 100 in position, slide that long through bolt, get everything pulled back forward. So grab yourself a 22 millimeter socket and a 22 wrench for the back side, and we'll get this locked down. All right, we want to lock these things down to 165 foot-pounds. All right, we got the torque arm in. We're gonna put the swivel. I've got the correct swivel. Again, don't forget, this hole is oriented towards the front of the truck. On the Lexus, we've got an arrow that tells us that. I got a little carried away here waiting for the cameraman to get his stuff together, so I just started painting this. But I'm gonna put a little anti-seize here on these flats because it's a wear point, so why not? I'm also gonna do these flats as well. All right, to get this swivel back in place, we're gonna feed it right through here, and then those little flats will lay down right in there like that. Cool, now we can grab the bolt, and that goes right up there, and it threads in. I'll grab a 30 millimeter socket. Okay, that's in. We're gonna start to tighten this up. Don't forget, what we're gonna try to do is get the head of this bolt with that co-witness sight marking that we made earlier. Just come a little bit more. Cool. All right, we're gonna do the same thing on the passenger side. All right, we got our driver and passenger side torsion bars all put back together. So now what we need to do is grab our straight edge here and see how far off we are from our witness marks we made earlier. So I'm getting close. It needs to go to the top of that mark there. So go ahead and tighten down a little bit more. Perfect. Same thing on the driver's side. Cool, there we go. Now don't forget, it's not that big of a deal if it isn't perfect right now. Once we get the truck on the ground, we'll take our measurements, we'll see how far off we are, left to right, how much rake we have, and then we can still make more adjustments. All right, torsion bars are locked back down. We've got our bracket 100 bolted in here. The last thing we need to do is get it drilled out. One thing before we do that, I just want to take a second and talk about these control arms. And we addressed it in the instructions that came with your bracket 100 too, but you definitely want to look to see if you've got any fractures or minor cracking in this area on your lower control arm. This was kind of a weak point for the 100 series and the LX470s. So please do an inspection, double check them, get yourself a rag, spray a bunch of brake cleaner on it, wipe this all down, inspect it, make sure it's good. If you have cracking in here, do not install the Ironman suspension. You need to get that fixed first. You either need to replace them or get them repaired. So when you're drilling for the 100 series Land Cruiser, there's already a pre-existing hole in the control arm. That's pretty simple. Just grab your hardware, bolt it down, that'll suck this flange down. On the Lexus, it does not have any pre-drilled holes. So what we'll do is we'll grab a small C-clamp. You can use any kind of clamp to get this thing locked down. You can even use vice grips if you have them. Just want to leave yourself enough room with your clamp that you can get your drill gun in here. While saying Hot Metal in the Eye sounds like a super cool album title, it actually happening to you is not fun. So put some iPro on before you drill these things out. So I'm gonna grab one set of hardware. So I got a bolt. It's a 16mm socket that you'll need to tighten that down. Split washer, flat washer. On the bolt side, we'll slide it up. I'm gonna get that in as hand to it as I can, and then I'm gonna grab a 16mm socket. I'm gonna tighten this thing down. Okay, it's supposed to be about 35 foot-pounds. Perfect. We'll put our serrated nut right there, get our hardware, grab our 16. And we installed our Ironman 4x4 TOY050 Torsion Bars, and we clocked them to the factory markings. Well, on this LX470 that we have, it's got a little extra weight in the front with our Ironman 4x4 bumper. So what we're gonna do is we don't have enough adjustment here, so we're gonna pull this back end apart, take the torque arm out, and re-clock it a couple teeth and see if we can get some more adjustment out of it to get that front end back up. All right, we got our TOY050 Torsion Bars in with our bracket 100s. They're drilled, locked down. This looks really good. It wasn't, you know, a little intimidating. Torsion bars, kind of different, but really not that hard. You can do it. Last thing I'd mention is when you get your truck on the ground, if it's not sitting exactly how you want to, that's the beauty of torsion bars. We've got that 30mm bolt in the back that we can adjust on each side to get our truck sitting exactly how you want. So if you want more information about this setup or you want to buy one, go to Ironman4x4America.com.